Hi, I'm Lewis and this is MusicaLewis, a channel dedicated to all good music based on my good music taste, and we're on to the final part of my final collection update. There's not as many this time because this is only half a shelf of what I've got left. I've also got two 12-inch singles, and I've also got a 10-inch vinyl and a box full of 7 inches to show you. So I'm going to do these as quickly as possible. This isn't a full shelf this time because this is only half of what was on my fourth shelf, and we'll start with the 12 inches first. Then we've got Walking Like We Do from the Big Moon, and this is on blue vinyl. And you also get a poster with it as well. Yeah, that's quite nice. There's some records I do have posters in, but I haven't showed you any of those. This is their third album at this point, and I got this from a friend of mine from Christmas a couple of years ago. Brilliant album this is, one of my favourite albums. And then we got, because we haven't seen any more Kings of Leon's since the first video, so we're down to Kings of Leon again, and this is Walls, my favourite Kings of Leon album, and the lyrics are in this booklet, which is really nice, just like the CD. And this is on black vinyl as a single one, all the other Kings of Leon's except for Can We Please Have Fun are all double albums. This is one of the single ones. And one of my favourite albums, musical rock albums, The War of the Worlds, the Jeff Wayne version of War of the Worlds. This is an original copy. It's not in the best of condition with the packaging, but the records are good, and also you get the lyrics and the story in this booklet. Brilliant artwork in this booklet, it really is. Brilliant booklet as well, and brilliant album with the booklet too. I love it, and it's such a good record this is, and probably my favourite classic records of all time. And then we got Foo Fighters again with Wasting Light. This is a double LP black vinyl. This is a brilliant album. This is one of my favourite records that I've ever brought on vinyl. And then the final Oasis in this collection, What's the Story, Morning Glory. Free gatefold, but with a freeway. This is an original copy which I bought off a friend of mine for 15 quid. So, and an original here. Black vinyl as well. And then we've got Saxon with Wheels of Steel. This is an original 1980 record. This is an original, and one of my favourite records in classic heavy metal history. And the final Aces record, the debut, When My Heart Felt Volcanic. We've got it on pink splatter for this one, and I'll show you that poster in a minute. And I know it's a different coloured packet, but blue splatter for this too. Now I've got this the same time as the other two Aces records, but not Gold Star Baby. This is the poster. Double-sided. And this is the inlay picture. And you also got thank yous and the lyrics on here as well. I should have really showed you what was inside these records really for most of them, but I haven't got a lot of time to keep doing that. So, but they are nice to have, really. They are nice to have. There's not many coloured records in this part of the series, so there's not many this time. But they are nice to have, really. They are nice to have, to be honest. But as I say, this is my favourite Aces album, and I'm glad that I got this on vinyl, so it's one of my favourites, and definitely worth having on vinyl if you can get it. Poster can't go back in now. It's a good album though. And Kings of Leon next again with When You See Yourself, double vinyl, black, and you get the lyrics in this booklet as well, which is really nice to have in a vinyl like this. This was the first Kings of Leon album I brought on vinyl at the time in 2021, because that's when the album came out. And Whenever You Need Somebody by Rick Astley, which is a classic from 1987. This is a fantastic album. I'm not a Rick Astley fan through and through, but it's still really good for an album like this. And a long way down, we have Noel Gallagher with Who Built the Moon, Noel Gallagher's High Flying Birds. This is a brilliant album. This is one of my favourites. I've also kept the sticker as well, because there's no title on the album, so I kept the sticker with it. Black vinyl too. First Aid Kit is next again, and this is the Who by Fire live album, and this is the last of the First Aid Kits in the collection so far. Blue vinyl, dark blue vinyl. I'm not a fan of live albums on vinyl, as I said in the previous reviews, but this live album is brilliant. There's some moments that I'm not keen on it, but it's still good. And Liam Gallagher next with Why Me, Why Not on black vinyl. I do love this record. I think it's fantastic. It's my favourite of Liam Gallagher's work, in my opinion, and one of my favourites that I ever enjoyed on vinyl. And that's my second record I brought after Busted. So, and then we have Muse with Will of the People, which I am not a fan of this album at all. There are some good songs on it, but I'm not a fan of it as a whole. But for the price, I paid £9 for this from HMV last Christmas, and I'm not saying it's on black vinyl as well, so it's not that impressive. A couple of songs I do like here and there, but I'm not an overall fan of the album as a whole. I think personally it's a good record in some ways, but it's not better than some of Muse's other works. I haven't got any of their classics on vinyl as up to this point, so anyway, we've got another Queen with The Works, which is this was originally from my mum as well. obviously this is one of my favourites from Queen as well. I absolutely adore this record. Queen's fans all over the world absolutely love this album, and personally it's one of my favourites too. And then we've got the Level 42, which I mentioned in the last video. We have World Machine. This is an absolutely treasured album, and this came out in 1985. So this was before Running in the Family. And personally, I think this is a brilliant album for me. And there's other songs on this album that actually work really well for Level 42, and I think they're probably pretty good, this one for me. And then finally with Fletcher, Would You Still Love Me If You Really Knew Me, from 2025. This is new this year. I've listened to this last week and it was brilliant on vinyl. Absolutely amazing on vinyl. One of my favourite records I've ever listened to in my time, and personally pretty decent. And then we're going to go through the Y session now. You signed up for this by Maisie Peters, and this is on white vinyl. So pretty good album. And obviously I think this is one of my favourites too. She's really good, Maisie Peters. This record's not easy to find on vinyl now, but I managed to find it last year, in March last year. Pretty good to have on vinyl. And McFly, Young Dumb Thrills, and this is on green vinyl. I got this from a friend of mine last year who was selling it for about 25 quid, and I'm happy that I've got it on vinyl. As I said, this isn't easy to come by, unlike what Power to Play is, so if you want to look around for this, you're going to pay probably a lot more for it, or you're just going to find it very hard to come by, so I'm glad I've got this. And this is the other birdie I was on about in the last video with Young Heart. This is on black vinyl as well. And this was an album that I found myself quite enjoying, actually, even though the album is a bit long-winded, it is still enjoyable to listen to this, and I quite like this compared to previous Birdie albums. And personally, if you're not a huge Birdie fan, you probably would not enjoy this record that much, but it's still a good one, this. And another Kings of Leon, Youth and Young Manhood. This is the classic from 2003. Same with Aha Shake Heartbreak. I don't know why they put just 2 discs for an album that's around 40 minutes, but then again, it's how they've done it. So. And then a record I've recently listened to before I actually started making these videos, The Shires, My Universe. This is 10-year plan, sorry. What did I say My Universe for? 10-year plan, I meant to say. I actually like this to go with the Staves and First Aid Kit and, Ward Thomas. I'm thinking of getting the other 2 on vinyl that I've found, which are Good Years and My Universe I've seen, which I think, I do love the Shires. I think they're actually a really, really good band, actually. And this is the other Elvis album I was on about, but also my sister has the same album. We have the original 40s 30 Greatest Hits. This goes from Heartbreak, his early years in 1954, all the way down to 1970 with Don't Cry Daddy. I think there's about 10 songs on each Yes, there is 10 songs on each record. I haven't actually listened through them up to this point, but I will listen to them eventually. And we're at the bottom of the list now with 2 Bon Jovis back to back again, like in the early video. This is the 2020, and this is on gold vinyl. That's really nice, actually. That's gold. And the difference between this one and the CD version is that the CD has the vinyl has 2 bonus tracks on the back with Shine and Love Can, which you can get from streaming services, but it doesn't feature on the CD version, which is slightly annoying. But on vinyl, it's nice to have them on vinyl in a way. And then another Bon Jovi classic to round off the main albums, 7800 Degrees Fahrenheit. I daren't tear that sticker off because it's the original part of the stickers. So even though it's all right where it is, because it's not really a decent cover, but this is from 1985. So basically, I've got this one, New Jersey, and the self-titled with the original coverings. This isn't original pressing, so I paid 15 cred for this at Belper. So. And this is a surprise for you, actually, because I got this from a car boot this year. Now That's Why I Call Music, the very first record. I've paid a tenner for this, and really, people would probably pay a lot more for this now if you got the original. And I'm gonna keep hold of this because this has 30 songs on it, so it's an interesting compilation. This is the original Now That's Why I Call Music, so I'm not gonna get rid of this. Then we got two picture disc singles. We have Bjorn Again with Erasure-ish, They'll Respect More and Stop More. And then we've got a Scissor Sisters 12-inch picture disc with the single Mary, which I got off a friend of mine. And then the final 10-inch, we've got First Aid Kit with Tender Offerings. This is a 10-inch. This was a Record Store Day release, 2018. But I found this on Discogs last year, and I paid 15 quid for it a couple of years ago. 15 quid for this, so it's a nice little box. It's a nice little collection, actually, and mainly I think these are B-sides from the Ruins session. And my favourite off this record is Ugly. So Ugly is my favourite on this release. And then we're going to show you some 7-inch singles in this box. Well, I do have a CD single box in here, but I'm just going to show you the 7 inches that I've got in here. There's quite a bit in here, so I'm going to try and show them all as quickly as possible. And the band played on by Saxon, which is the first of the CD singles. Another Brick in the Wall Part 2 by Pink Floyd, which I do like as a song. Queen, Another One Bites the Dust. Queen, Back Chat. Michael Jackson, Beat It. Bon Jovi, Bad Medicine. Whoops. John Bon Jovi, Blaze of Glory. Bon Jovi, Born to Be My Baby. Queen, Bohemian Rhapsody. I've got those two mixed up for some reason. Led Zeppelin, the German pressing of Immigrant Song and Hey Hey What Can I Do? I think it's German, or is it Spanish? I don't know. I think it's Immigrant Song. Wild Lies Can't Carry On, which is on white vinyl. And Queen, Crazy Little Thing Called Love on black vinyl as well. The Time Lord, Doctor in the TARDIS, which is a novelty song. Fight Star, The English Way on blue vinyl. Bryan Adams, Everything I Do It For You. Queen's first EP. Queen's Flash. John Lennon, Happy Christmas, War Is Over. Wild Lies, Heart Cry, which I think is on black vinyl. Whitesnake, Here I Go Again. Wheel to Wheel, I Like to Move It, Move It. U2, I still haven't found what I'm looking for. Queen, I Want to Break Free. Bon Jovi, I'll Be There For You. Vanilla Ice, Ice, Ice Baby. Ice, Ice Baby. Freddie Mercury, In My Defense. Introducing Thunderbirds, an audio 7-inch. Queen, It's a Hard Life. Thin Lizzy, Killer on the Loose. There's actually two singles in here. There's actually two singles in here. We've got Killer on the Loose on one, and the other is Give It Up. Got to Give It Up Live and Chinatown Live. So basically, I've got two singles in this box. One of them's missing its sleeve, but the only way to do it is to stick it in here. So, because they're both Thin Lizzy, so, and I like Thin Lizzy, so. Queen, Kind of Magic. Bon Jovi, Lay Your Hands on Me. Michael Jackson, Leave Me Alone. AC/DC, Let's Get It Up. Bon Jovi, Living on a Prayer. Police, Message in a Bottle. Bon Jovi, Never Say Goodbye. Queen, Play the Game. Queen, Radio Gaga. Duran Duran Rio. AC/DC Rock and Roll Ain't No Noise Pollution. Queen Save Me. Duran Duran Save a Prayer. Wildlife Save Your Breath. On black vinyl as well, I think. Queen, The Show Must Go On. Oasis, some might say, on pearl vinyl, pearl white. Aha, Take On Me. Duran Duran, A Few to a Kill. Spandau Ballet True. Don't know why that's mixed up for some reason. Why is that mixed up for some reason? And 2 copies of Bon Jovi Wanted Dead or Alive, the UK pressing and the US pressing. Queen, We Are the Champions, We Will Rock You. Noel Gallagher's High Flying Birds, We're Gonna Get There in the End. This features in the Council Skies vinyl. And 2 more. Aladdin, A Whole New World. And finally, Bon Jovi, You Give Love a Bad Name. So that's my final collection. I don't know if I want to. I'm not going to show you them all again every year. I might do, if I buy any more from the course of this year into next year, if I want to do this again. I'm going to just show you all my new ones I bought within that year or within 6 months or something. So thanks for enjoying my videos. About nearly just over 3.5 hours of actually recording all these videos. So thank you so much for watching. And if you watched them all to this point, I thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed them. Thanks so much for joining me. And this is the MusicaLewis. Leave a like, follow, and subscribe below this video if you've seen it. I hope to see you again next time. Goodbye for now, everybody. Goodbye.